Athens area baseball stars take their talents to UGA. I have the details.
I'm here on campus asking the students about the spring game and the season this upcoming fall.
Coming up, I sit down with one of Georgia's meanest offensive linemen, Tate Ratledge, who also happens to have a mean haircut.
Hello and welcome to this semester's final episode of Sportsource. I'm Stuart Steele. We'll recognize the hard work of all our professors, reporters, producers, and analysts later on. But first, we've got a packed show for you tonight. First up, with Georgia's spring football game in the books, we have Sportsource reporter Cohen Marcus with takeaways from G-Day. Cohen, what did you think about the game?
Stuart, when I watched G-Day earlier this month, I felt like I was watching a college football all-star game with all the future NFL talent Kirby has on the field. This week, I went on campus and asked several students about their thoughts on the spring game and the team this upcoming season. So after the spring game, is Carson Beck for sure the quarterback for UGA this upcoming fall?
I think it's for sure his job to lose. I mean, he did great, saw the field well. Everyone thought it was going to be him going in. I don't think Brock or what's his name, Goda did anything like all impressive to get him really out of the spot. I just think it's his spot to lose.
I don't know. I mean, he had some good plays and he had some bad ones, so I think it's dependent on how well he does in real games. I mean, being able to read the defense and being able to make those good plays, that really matters. And so it just kind of depends on how he plays against other teams. I mean, the SEC is a hard league to beat.
True.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Seabeck. Been watching him for a while since he got into Georgia, and he's waiting his turn.
Yeah.
So I really like to see a guy that sticks around. And he looked really good. He looked sharp. He can throw the ball really well. So I'm expecting Beck to be the guy.
Okay. Who are you most impressed with at G-Day?
Honestly, that was my classmate, Cash Jones. He was the running back. He impressed me with his moves.
Okay.
I think Mekhi Muse, he had two kickoff returns, but they got called back, unfortunately, due to spring game rules. But
True.
he's probably going to be our main return guy during the season.
Okay, yeah.
Brock Bowers consistently stands out. I mean, he's always good. He's put in that effort since freshman year, so I mean, he always looks good. I'm a big Lad McConkey fan, and I thought he looked pretty good too.
Okay, yeah.
I was really impressed by Carson, like obviously. Cash Jones was like surprisingly impressive, and I really like Mekhi Muse. Mekhi Muse is pretty cool.
Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I actually know him off the field. So
Okay.
I thought it was funny actually seeing him get up and go and get his chance to actually do something. So I was proud of the boy.
And what player are you expecting to have a breakout season this fall?
Probably have to go with Javon Bullard. I mean, he kind of had a breakout year last year, but he was incredible as a freshman. But I think this year is really going to be his time to shine. I mean, we got good DBs all over the field, but I think he might be the best of the bunch. If not him, Malachi Starks.
Branson's probably going to go stupid this year. He's already climbing the depth chart pretty well. I think he should be when everyone's healthy, he should be around second string.
Will Georgia win its third national championship in a row?
I hope so. I really hope so. I'd love to end my senior year off on a national championship victory.
No competition in Georgia.
Okay.
I mean, we're just levels ahead.
I think they will. They have
Okay.
college hasn't done a three-peat since Minnesota in almost 100 years.
Yep.
So hopefully if they do that, they could be the first to do it in such a long time.
If we do have any opposition this fall, who do you think that will come from?
Tennessee's been building. I think Tennessee's got they're going up on the top of the hill, they're cresting, so we'll see how that goes to Tennessee, but really them and Ohio State is the only ones I can think of.
I think Clemson and Tennessee, they both got good squads.
Okay.
Going into the season.
Okay. If you could have lunch with any UGA football player, who would it be?
Oh, probably Brock Bowers.
Okay.
I just want to sit down and talk to him. 'Cause
Okay.
He seems like a really cool guy.
Yeah, he's a beast too.
I have to go with Nazir Stackhouse.
Good.
Seems like a pretty funny guy. Seems like he probably knows his way around a restaurant too, so that'd be really fun to hang out with him.
So the first one that comes to my head, who doesn't play anymore, is in the NFL, Jordan Davis. One, hilarious guy.
Yeah.
Two, just simply to see how much food that man needs to consume to be the way he is.
Yeah.
That would be fascinating.
I think Eric might have given me the best answer I got all day. We'll see how the team's preparation this spring will pay off when they open their season in Sanford Stadium. They'll face University of Tennessee at Martin on September 2nd. But in the meantime, back to you, Stuart.
Thanks, Cohen. I'm already looking forward to another season of college football. When we come back, we'll take a look at next weekend's softball series between the Georgia Bulldogs and the LSU Tigers. Our analysts will fill us in on the teams and make their picks for the series. Our Sportsource matchup of the week is coming up right after this.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible, she must be a keeper.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to Sportsource. We turn now to our Matchup of the Week segment. The college softball regular season is winding down, and for Georgia's final series of the season, the Bulldogs are heading to Baton Rouge to take on LSU. I'm now joined by Sportsource analysts Eric Tiongson and Rafa Cruz. For our analysis, Eric will be representing the Tigers, and Rafa will be representing the Bulldogs. Eric, how are the Tigers looking heading into this series?
Stuart, this upcoming week for LSU is going to be season-defining. They've got a 3-game series against number 16 Alabama in Tuscaloosa this weekend before taking on Georgia next week. Now, LSU is currently 5th in the SEC, but only a game behind Arkansas and Auburn, and they could climb up to as high as 3rd depending on how those games go. They're in good form coming into this week. The Tigers have won their last 3 games, and their bats are a big reason why. They scored 25 runs in their past 3 games, and Taylor Pleasants has led the charge on offense. Pleasants was named the SEC Player of the Week on Tuesday, thanks to a standout performance in LSU's sweep of Mississippi State. She's been one of the top hitters for the Tigers this season, batting .355 with an on-base percentage of .441 and a slugging percentage of .605. Now, not only is she getting on base a lot, but a lot of her hits are for extra bases, with 7 doubles and 8 home runs on the year. She leads the Tiger with 45 RBI this season, and hitting 3rd in the lineup, she'll have plenty of chances to add to that total. Now, there's 3 things this Tiger team needs to do if they want to get a big series win next week. Most importantly, they're going to have clutch hitting. There's not a single combination of letters more devastating in this sport than L-O-B, left on base. While the Tigers' offense came to life last week, it was in a bit of a slump before. In the 5 games prior to last week's series, LSU went 1-4 and averaged only 1.8 runs in those games. In those 4 losses, the Tigers stranded 17 runners on base. They can't afford to do that against Georgia. For LSU, they're also going to need to keep it clean in the field. This team has a lot of talent defensively. Pleasants and Carly Petty make up a strong middle of the infield and are good for a few web gems. But the Tigers have struggled with errors recently, highlighted by 3 in their loss to McNeese State a few weeks ago. Georgia's lineup is just as dangerous as LSU's. The Tigers can't afford to give them any freebies. The Dogs will make them pay if they do. And finally, LSU is going to need some big performances from the pitching circle, namely from Sydney Berzon and Ali Kleiponen. The two have combined for 215 1/3 innings pitched and 24 wins. Opponents are hitting only .200 against Berzon this season and only .217 against Kleiponen. If LSU is going to get their best stuff in a 3-game series, they're going to need it, as Georgia is hitting .329 as a team. If LSU can follow these 3 keys, I like their chances to get a huge series win in Baton Rouge. Stuart, back to you.
Thanks, Eric. Sounds like the Tigers have their work cut out for them. Rafa, what do the Bulldogs need to do to take home this series?
Stuart, the Bulldogs are steaming hot right now, riding a 6-game winning streak, including a series sweep over South Carolina. Now they're going to be able to enjoy a week-long break to recover and wrap up final exams before this upcoming series against LSU. Georgia is currently 2nd in the SEC with a 15-5 in-conference record. Eric and I caught up with Georgia head coach Tony Baldwin to discuss the challenge they have playing the Tigers in Baton Rouge.
They're a well-coached club. You know, they're starting to get healthy. Taylor Pleasants is a problem for everybody. And, now that she's starting to get herself back healthy, that's going to be a challenge. And they have a good offensive lineup. They pitch well. Baton Rouge is a tough place to play. So we know that we're going to have to go down there and embrace that challenge. But, we've done that. We've played in tough environments. We've played plenty of good teams, so it's not going to be about that. It's really just going to be about us going down there doing what we do, trying to become the best version of ourselves while we're there, for whatever stresses come our way, manage them, cope with them the right way, and if we do that, the outcomes take care of themselves.
Now, I have 3 keys for the Dogs if they want to get the best of this series. First, the bullpen is going to have to set the tone for the Bulldogs. Madison Kerpix and Britton Rogers are their aces that will lead the way. They have the most starts and the lowest ERAs on the team, so they'll be counted on to perform under pressure on the road. They are both expected to start at least 1 game each in this series and can hopefully bring home wins. My second key is for Georgia to stay poised. They're going to be playing in a hostile road environment, so they're going to have to stay cool, calm, and collective in critical moments. It looks like all of these games are going to be really close in this series, so one play or one error can change the entire game. Another critical factor in Georgia succeeding is infielder Sara Mosley. Mosley has been the best bat for the Bulldogs all season. She leads the team in batting average by far, batting .470. She also leads the team in hits, slugging percentage, and on-base percentage. Mosley also ranks 3rd on the team in home runs with 7 and RBIs with 18. Obviously, the Bulldogs are going to need contributions from other hitters, but Mosley is the engine that makes this offense go.
All right, guys, you've made your cases. Now let's get your picks. Who will come away with the series victory?
Oh, this is going to be a very close series. All 3 games are going to come down to the wire, but I think home field advantage is going to be the difference. I have LSU winning the series 2-1.
I agree with Eric's point. Both teams are fighting for top spots in the SEC, so it's going to be really close, but I've got the Bulldogs going into Baton Rouge and taking 2 out of the 3 games in this series.
We'll see which pick is correct next week as the 3-game series gets started on Friday, May 5th. Coming up, Thomas Bresee speaks to 2 high school players preparing to become Bulldogs together. And still ahead, Rylan Godey sits down with offensive lineman Tate Ratledge.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Sports Source. When it comes to the transition from high school to college, sometimes there's no place like home. Sports Source reporter Thomas Bresee had the chance to talk with 2 local high school seniors who are taking their talents to a familiar campus and baseball field next season. Thomas, what's the latest from North Oconee?
Thanks, Stuart. The North Oconee baseball team has been on a remarkable run the past 2 years. The team is littered with talented seniors that will be playing at the college level next year. Luckily for Bulldog fans, 2 of those talented seniors will be playing close to home. Here's a closer look. North Oconee Titans baseball has been one of the best teams in the state for the past few years. They are coming off a state title and hoping to repeat. 2 players that are playing a huge part in that are Wyatt Land and Cale Strickland. Land and Strickland have decided to take their connection as a battery duo to UGA next fall.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of chemistry. I know what he wants to throw in certain situations, and he knows that he can trust me when I'm catching him. And it kind of just balances it out, and we complement each other pretty well.
Land has pitched to Strickland many times over their years at North Oconee. They have a real comfort level with each other and are excited to continue to grow. They feel their connection can be valuable to the Bulldogs next season.
Having that battery duo, it's been electric this year, so I'm excited to see how that progresses next year at the college level.
Land and Strickland have been remarkable this year. Both are hitting over .400 average with more than 20 RBIs this season. They are also lethal on the mound. Land has a 2.30 ERA with 8 wins and 58 strikeouts this year. Strickland has an ERA of 0.00 and 3 saves this year. Head coach Jay Lastly says their impact can't be measured by stats alone.
From a leadership standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint, both of those guys understand what it takes to be a successful athlete, and they do a phenomenal job of making sure that their teammates and the younger players around them understand what hard work is, what accountability is, what dedication is.
The 2022 season was near perfect for the Titans. They won a state-best 39 games, including 36 straight, and brought home a state title. This year's team is hoping to make this year just as successful. They are 26-4 this year and have already locked up the region, but they aren't done yet.
I think it puts a different ring on it when you can say you're a senior on a state championship team. You're one of the leaders and all that. I think that'd be way cooler than last year. I mean, obviously that's cool, but being a senior leader on this team and bringing one home would be pretty cool.
Land and Strickland are excited to get to Athens and get to work with the Bulldogs, but right now they are fully dialed in and bringing home another state title. Reporting for the Carmical Sports Media Institute, I'm Thomas Brzee. The Titans are in the Sweet 16 of the state tournament where they will take on Pace Academy, but it's clear the team isn't satisfied yet. They want another trophy. The Bulldogs are hoping Landon Strickland can bring some of that championship DNA to Foley Field next year. For now, back to you, Stuart.
Thanks, Thomas. We'll see what kind of impact they can make in Athens going forward. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll have a fantasy draft featuring some of the greatest players in the history of Georgia football.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Welcome back to Sportsource. With the 2023 NFL Draft in full swing, we're doing our own draft today. It's time for a segment we like to call Dogs Draft Day. I'm now joined by Sportsource analysts Eric Tiongson, Rafa Cruz, and Molly Lee. We'll be picking teams of current and former Bulldog legends in a fantasy draft. We'll start with you, Eric. Tell us a little bit about the team you've drafted.
Stuart, this team is not called the Ground and Pound Dogs for nothing. Now, I came into this draft with a goal of building a superpower defense complemented by an elite running game, and I think I did just that. 3 of my first 4 picks were on defense. Champ Bealey is a shutdown corner and one of the greatest Georgia players ever. David Pollock is the all-time leader in sacks for UGA and a 2-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and Nakobe Dean is a versatile weapon that can make plays in coverage, against the run, and even get some sacks as a blitzer. If you throw in Leonard Floyd as an edge-rushing linebacker, I really struggle to see anyone putting more than 14 on this defense. But that's only the start. On offense, this team is going to punch you in the mouth. Nick Chubb will be the workhorse back. He's second all-time in career rushing yards and touchdowns for Georgia, and his powerful running will tire teams quickly. And when teams do get tired, DeAndre Swift can come in as a change of pace back, providing speed, quickness, and a threat in the passing game. There's going to be plenty of open holes in the running game thanks to an offensive line anchored by the dominant Andrew Thomas, a consensus All-American. And in the rare instance that this team might find itself in a shootout, the passing attack is more than capable of keeping pace. Fran Tarkenton is an old-school QB, but don't let that fool you. He was an All-American in 1960, and he's going to have a lot of speed to throw to in George Pickens, Mecole Hardman, and Champ Bailey. That's right, Champ played as both their corner and a receiver at UGA, so I'm getting 2 players for the price of 1 with him. Orson Charles rounds out the pass catchers as a good red zone threat and blocker. Now I'll say this, all 3 of these teams drafted look very, very good, but I don't think there's a scarier team to play against than mine. We play real dog football, ground and pound. Stuart, back to you.
That certainly sounds like an imposing lineup that would give other teams trouble, particularly the backfield duo of Chubb and Swift with Andrew Thomas leading the way up front. Thanks for that, Eric. Rafa, let's see how your lineup stacks up.
Stuart, it looks like Eric's team is pretty stacked, but mine is unbeatable. My team has the firepower on offense to unload on any defense and game records on the defensive side. At quarterback, I picked the Heisman finalist that delivered 2 national championships for the Dogs, the mailman, Stetson Bennett. I was lucky enough to get the first overall pick in this draft, so of course I had to go with the greatest college football player ever in Herschel Walker. Of course, Walker owns all the rushing records for UGA, and he was an unstoppable force no matter how many players you stacked in the box. I formed an all-Heisman backfield by pairing Herschel with Frank Sinkwich. Frank Sinkwich was named as an All-American, SEC Player of the Year, and Heisman Trophy winner as a quarterback and a running back for the Dogs. So I have the only 2 Heisman winners in Georgia football history on my team. At the tight end spot, I've got the guy that I like to call Superman in Brock Bowers because he has done it all in his first 2 seasons and has won the John Mackey Award as college football's most outstanding tight end. He still has 1 more year left in a Georgia uniform, and he is sure to go down as one of the best Bulldogs ever by the time he's done. At wide receiver, I took Hines Ward and Malcolm Mitchell. Ward was a Swiss Army knife that played quarterback, running back, and wide receiver for the Dogs, and is currently ranks 5th all-time in all-purpose yards for UGA. And Malcolm Mitchell, an all-around threat at wide receiver who made a lot of big plays for Georgia in his career, including the game-winning touchdown against number 2 Florida in 2012. And of course you can't forget the guys in the trenches because they're the ones that make everything go. I picked center David Andrews, who was a valuable leader. His coaches named him as a permanent captain for the season, and his teammates voted him as the team MVP his senior year. On defense, I'll start with the big man up front that wreaks havoc in Richard Seymour. He was a first-team All-American and 2-time first-team All-SEC with 223 tackles, 23.5 tackles for loss, and 9.5 sacks in his career. At linebacker, I've got the hard-hitting, heat-seeking missile in Rennie Curran. He finished first in the SEC in solo and total tackles twice in his career. He had over 100 tackles in his sophomore and junior years. He's the kind of sideline-to-sideline linebacker that can help shut down any run game. Then I've got Sackman Jones, Jarvis Jones. Jones still holds the UGA record for most sacks in a single season with 14.5 in 2012. He also had 13.5 sacks in 2011, which ranks 3rd all-time in a single season for Georgia football. Then at DB, I've got Thomas Davis. Davis is a former All-American that played linebacker and safety. Between him and Rennie Curran, our defense is going to deliver a lot of big hits. I named my team the Delivery Men because all we do is deliver wins. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Thanks, Rafa. That's another strong lineup. Frank Sinkwich and Herschel Walker on the same team is tough to beat for Georgia fans, and that defense would have a lot of versatility. All right, Molly, let's see if we've saved the best team for last. Who do you have?
Thanks, Stuart. I definitely think you saved the best team for last. My team has it all. A star-studded offense led by Matthew Stafford and a dominant defense led by Roquan Smith and Jordan Davis. I'll start with my offense. I started strong with the leader of the offense, the quarterback. I took Matthew Stafford as my first overall pick, one of the best quarterbacks to come through UGA. Playing offensive line is center Ben Jones. Jones played offensive line with Matthew during Matthew's successful seasons at UGA. Alongside Matthew will be 2 of the top 3 receivers in terms of total career receiving yards in UGA history. First, I have the record holder for the most season receiving yards, career receiving yards, most career pass receptions, and most touchdown receptions in a career. Yes, all of these records are held by the Terrence Edwards. Think I have all I need at receiver? Nope, I also have AJ Green, who has the 3rd most career receiving yards, 3rd most season receiving yards, and 2nd most career touchdown receptions. My offense doesn't stop there. Stafford having a bad game? Well, we aren't called RBU for nothing. I have Todd Gurley and Noshawn Marino lining up in the backfield, and we both know those boys can run and hurdle. You can't tackle them high because they'll juke you. You can't push them out of bounds because they'll fly right by you. and you can't wrap them up because they'll just jump right over you. My offenses finishes off with tight end Benjamin Watson, who can catch and block with the best of the best with his 6'3", 255-pound build. Now to my defense, which does win championships. I took the 2017 Butt Kiss Award winner for the best linebacker in the country with Roquan Smith as my second pick because he is an elite rusher, has a high football IQ, and he's a team leader. I don't care who's playing quarterback. If you can put pressure on them, you give your defense a chance to make some big plays. I also have Jordan Davis, who we all know has the size and speed to take control on the defensive line. He will track down anyone, and I mean, who doesn't want a man of the people? Since I already have an inside linebacker with Roquan Smith, I added the All-American outside linebacker Justin Houston to my already stacked defense. Eric and Rafa, y'all say y'all have strong run games, but do you really think you can run through Jordan Davis, Roquan Smith, and Justin Houston? I will put this team up against anybody. There's a reason I named my team the Big Dogs. There's some big dogs who can get some big wins. All right, Stuart, we've given our teams. As the neutral party, who are you picking?
This is a tough decision. Each of the team has a lot of excellent players, but I have to give a slight edge to Molly and the Big Dogs. I just think the balance of this group is really strong, and the skill position trio of Stafford, Gurley, and Green would be too much to handle for opposing defenses. That was a lot of fun, guys. Now I just wish we could actually watch these teams play each other. Coming up, Rylan Godey speaks to Georgia football's resident mullet man, Tate Ratledge.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
Welcome back to Sportsource. The Georgia football team features a lot of big talents and big personalities. One player who combines both of those qualities is offensive lineman Tate Ratledge. His trademark haircut makes him easily identifiable on the field. Sportsource reporter Rylan Godey caught up with Ratledge earlier this week. Rylan, what's the latest?
Stuart, it is no secret here in Athens that the football Georgia Bulldogs are back-to-back national champions. In both of the past 2 seasons, the Dogs' offensive line has played a crucial role in the team's success. Tate Ratledge is one of the leaders amongst the group, and he's entering his draft-eligible year. On the field and off, the team knows him better as the Mullet Man. I sat down with Ratledge to talk about his football and his luscious flow. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with Georgia offensive lineman number 69, Tate Ratledge. Tate, thank you for being on with us. Of course. What are you most excited about going into your senior season this year?
Trying to go for a third one, really. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people on our offensive line, and we've made it one emphasis to really have fun this year. And yes, it is about winning, but we want to have a good time this year while doing it and not just view it as a grind every week. Just actually go out there and have fun.
I love it. When you talk about having fun, your mullet is one heck of having fun. How did you get your mullet?
Funny story. It started in my front yard. Dean Ratledge cutting it. Put the wrong guard on top, so I just had a buzz up top and just shaving on the sides, and then the back of my hair was just there. So it had a little bit of a recovery process, probably about 6 months of an awkward phase, and then it just kind of stuck, I would say, and I've thought about cutting it, but I just can't let it go because it's my trademark now.
Give us a little flip.
Oh, like here?
Yeah. How long are we thinking how long are we growing this out? Is this, you're going to get drafted this next year? Or are you just going to go in the NFL?
See, I've been saying whenever I'm done with football is when it'll get cut.
I love it. So obviously you said a third championship and plan for fun is kind of the goals as for the team this next year. What are your individual goals and, going into your draft year?
Win the Joe Moore. That is at the top of my list.
What's the Joe Moore?
The best offensive line in the country, which we should have won last year, but story for another time. Definitely win the Joe Moore. And then really just put myself in a position with my play and to put myself in a position after to go at a good round and a good time in the draft.
What about your play sticks out?
I'd say my physicality and toughness, really, more than anything.
I love it, brother. Thank you for being on.
Yep.
Ratledge not only has become an icon for his hair, but his gameplay is also a conversation starter amongst NFL scouts. This is a big year for Ratledge, and if he plays well, his business in the front, party in the back hair can make an appearance on Sundays in the near future. Back to you, Stuart.
Wow, that truly is a majestic head of hair. Thanks for that, Ryland. We'll look forward to seeing more from Ratledge and his mullet when the Bulldogs return to action this fall. Looking ahead, don't forget our matchup of the week. The softball Georgia Bulldogs will wrap up their regular season by traveling to face the LSU Tigers. The series starts Friday, May 5th at 7 p.m. This is the final show of the semester, so it's a bittersweet Friday here in the Sportsource studio. I'm joined now by all of this semester's producers, reporters, and analysts. It's been an incredible team to work with, and we're so grateful for every experience we've shared together. Our graduating seniors will be so missed, and we send all the best to those continuing their Grady journey. We'd like to thank our professors, David Lawson and Vicki Michaelis, and our engineer, Tom White. The value of your guidance and support throughout this entire semester cannot be overstated. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I'm Stuart Steele. Enjoy your weekend, and as always, stay classic, Athens.